87% chance of winning a PGA Tour major, would I be wrong by saying I want to invest in the no on Scottie Scheffler? And that $100 investment would pay back $213 here. Everybody thinks Scottie's going to win. It's like 100 golfers in those fields each and every week, and the major's the best golfers in the world. I'm going against the grain, Joe. Give me the no on Scottie Scheffler.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, oh, he wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 officially underway right here on the Early Line on the Sports Grid Network. The hot topics, you know they're going to flow. The energy always going to be high, and it's our job to get you ready for what you need to know for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and most importantly, Sunday with AFC and NFC Championship title action, Joe. It's just the way we get down, bringing the people the information that they need.
Yeah, and it's a lot of craziness, still going on here in the NFL outside of just the games, Donnie. And we have two very interesting ones still to come. And we've got, this is crunch time in college basketball as well. The games over the next 3 weeks are going to determine a lot come March, that's for sure.
Got some great guests coming up in this hour. Adam Kaufman's going to join us next, as well as Cam Stewart a little bit later in hour number 2. A lot of good times here, but let's get to those hottest topics, which includes the early lineup in the New York Mets, revamping their entire offense, defense, and pitching staff here. Freddie Peralta comes over in a trade, the All-Star. I think it's a great move for the Mets. You know they have unlimited payroll. You might as well get the best players you possibly can. Gave up a few prospects, brought back Freddie Peralta. Nice move for the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, and Peralta, I think, 29 years old, was obviously the ace of the Milwaukee Brewers there, who better hope that, Woodruff and company remain healthy. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure what they're doing for these prospects that may or may not work out. But, hey, who is it? Nolan McLean now, what? Clay Holmes, Manaea, Peterson, Senga, and Peralta. He should be the number one with the Mets, should he not?
Looks like he's going to take that spot. We'll see if he can pitch in the Big Apple. Some pitchers don't fare so well. Freddie Peralta should be just fine. Quality pitcher here, making the Mets a better team. They've spent a lot of money and some resources over the past couple weeks to try to improve that team from last year. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're looking to get back to the mountaintop. We don't know when Mahomes is going to return, hopefully sooner than later. But you know who is returning? That's Eric Bieniemy, their former offensive coordinator, now going to be their new offensive coordinator, Joe.
Yeah, the word on the street was, and a lot of reports, that there was a little bit of dysfunction going on with Nagy and the offense and some of those players. And the thing about Bieniemy when he was there is he was quite the disciplinarian. Nobody liked him, but they played for him. And I think maybe that's what Andy's looking for here, is to kind of, rein some guys in here next year, certainly on the offensive side. And he was really good at that, Bieniemy, when he was there with Andy Reid.
Sounds like Brian Flores being the new, once again, defensive coordinator getting extended by the Minnesota Vikings. Maybe they don't like him, but they'll play for that guy. He's a good coach. And all of a sudden, if you are a lover of defense, which a lot of us are, you love a guy that just brings the heat every single down. That's what Brian Flores does. He's not going to be a head coach this cycle, but boy, that's a good save there for the Minnesota Vikings, keeping him in town.
Yeah, I mean, this year alone, his defense allowed the third fewest yards per game. And the only teams better than him were Houston and the Broncos. You know, the guy is a proven defensive whiz here, but his contract was up, Donnie, and there were some questions in Minnesota. Would he be back? Would he not? Would he take a job someplace else? But it appears Minnesota's like, listen, we're locking you up. And if you get a head coaching job or offer, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Let's have some fun with this. The Buffalo Bills had a press conference yesterday for the ages. Now, is it similar to Allen Iverson saying, you know, you asking about practice? Like, no, it's not one of those. Or it's not even playoffs. Like, you take a look at, you know, Herman Edwards at that point. Or not Herman Edwards, it was Jim Mora. And then you take a look at some other ones out there. You play to win the game with Herman Edwards. Pagula yesterday, talking about his decision to fire McDermott, let it go.
My decision to bring in a new coach was based on the results of our game in Denver. I want to take you in the locker room after that game. I looked around. First thing I noticed was our quarterback with his head down, crying. I looked at all the other players. I looked at their faces and our coaches. I walked over to Josh. He didn't even acknowledge I was there. First thing I said to him, I said, that was a catch. We all know what I'm talking about. He didn't acknowledge me. He just sat there sobbing. He was listless. He had given everything he had. And looking around, so did all the other players on the team. I saw the pain in Josh's face at his presser, and I felt his pain. I know we can do better, and I know we will get better.
Emotional decisions, Joe, as an owner, not really good when you make those decisions that way, do you?
That's how you opened it up. Your answer is, I walked in and saw Josh Allen crying, and that was the reason that you were like, nope, he's got to go. But yet the guy that you brought in with McDermott, who built a roster with him that has the same track record as McDermott in the postseason and is also responsible for those tears, you promoted? Please make it make sense, Donnie, please.
It gets better, though, Joe. How about that? Let's go back to this press conference, and now we'll hear from who actually wanted Keon Coleman.
Yeah, I mean, can I interrupt? I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice. That was Brandon being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff, who felt strongly about the player. And, you know, he's taken, for some reason, heat over it and not saying a word about it, but I'm here to tell you the true story.
This is not the way a front office is supposed to run, but it also goes to show you, Joe, from an NFL side perspective, you can be the owner, be the dumbest owner in the business, run your organization horribly, make stupid choices, and get new stadiums that the public's going to pay for and get billions of dollars in your back pocket.
So, and to butt in, you knew the minute he's like, can I interrupt? You knew it was going to be gold, because everything out of his mouth up to that point was absolutely just dumpster fire going on here. He's a billionaire owner who refuses to take any personal responsibility for anything, doesn't think he made a bad decision, and then interrupts and throws the coaching staff that got you to what, Donnie? 8 consecutive playoff runs here. That same coaching staff doesn't know what they're doing at the draft. But again, the GM does. And this kid has still got 2 years on his contract. I mean, what are you're throwing players under the bus? The whole thing is hilariously bad.
Yeah, so the owner thought him butting in was going to help out the general manager. It made it 5 times as worse. Congratulations, Buffalo Bills. But let's get to this next topic here. The San Francisco 49ers are injured and stay injured. Could it be the electrical substation? Here's their general manager, John Lynch, talking about it.
Because it deals with allegedly, the health and safety of our players, I think you have to look into everything. And so our guys we've been reaching out to anyone and everyone to see, does a study exist other than a guy sticking an apparatus underneath a fence and coming up with a number that I have no idea what that means. That's what we know exists. We've heard that debunked. So yes, we will look into it. We have. The health and safety of our players is of the utmost priority. We pour into it. Our ownership, Jed, tremendous in terms of resources, and we'll always be cognizant of things. I know that a lot of games have been won at this facility, since it opened, and so, but yeah, we aren't going to turn a blind eye. We'll look into everything.
Even if it's not true and the players think it's true, you must make those changes, Joe. It's just the way it is, man. Psychology.
Listen, you should leave no stone unturned, period. Like, you got to get to the bottom of this. You can't keep losing your franchise players every year and expect to win Super Bowls.
Can't do it here. The Yankees re-signed Cody Bellinger, 5 years, $162 million, Joe. And also the Australian Open enters the third round. How you feel about that?
Yeah, again, let me know when Alcaraz and Sinner are playing. I'm sure it'll be riveting.
I'll let you know when Adam Kaufman appears. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's next. We'll be right back. .7% chance of winning a PGA Tour major. Would I be wrong by saying I want to invest in the no on Scotty Scheffler? And that $100 investment would pay back $213 here. Everybody thinks Scotty's going to win. It's like 100 golfers in those fields each and every week in the majors, the best golfers in the world. I'm going against the grain, Joe. Give me the no on Scotty Scheffler.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Get down to the business, people. Having some fun on a Thursday morning edition of the Early Line right here on the SportsGrid Network. Donnie right side along with Joe Ranier. Let's welcome in Adam Kaufman here. We got big doings this week. And I got to ask you this question right off the bat. Welcome in, of course, but also the expectations in New England now are Super Bowl or bust, apparently.
It's amazing that we got to that place for sure. Going into the postseason, there was a little bit of sort of that house money angle for fans where they've already wildly overachieved, right? They go from 4 wins to 14 in large part because of the schedule. I'm not running away from that, but looking like you got some real building blocks at head coach Mike Vrabel, an MVP candidate in Drake May. You wanted to kind of validate the season with that first game against the Chargers, especially being a home favorite. They go out, strong defensive performance. May has his issues, but nevertheless, they win the game rather easily. Then it's okay. The Texans are coming to town. CJ Stroud, he hasn't been great, but this team has won 10 in a row, though it's down its top weapon in Nico Collins. But you got the number 1 defense in the NFL on the other side. Let's just go out and have a competitive game. But, again, home favorite in the playoffs. So, really you should take care of business, and they do ultimately going away. Now, I think a lot of people would have been content, satisfied, not, certainly walking around with the pitchforks or anything like that if New England went out and lost in Denver, given the fact that 1, Broncos number 1 overall seed, 2, this team is, just the city, mile high, that stadium. It's been a house of horrors for the Patriots historically. New England 0-4 in the playoffs in Denver. Winning there is something Tom Brady and Bill Belichick never did in their 3 chances. Could May and Vrabel actually get that job done? But then, of course, you get the news that Bo Nix is done with that fractured ankle. And so it's going to be Jarrett Stidham, the former Patriot, who's going to be under center for the Broncos, who hasn't thrown an NFL pass since 2023. And yeah, you move the goalposts a little bit to where you're really, especially as being, guys, I'm sure you've talked about this, the biggest road favorite in a conference finals game since the merger, going back to 1970. In the Super Bowl era, there's never been a bigger road favorite at this stage of the postseason. New England had better go out and win that game. So yeah, the Broncos defense, it's another top 5 defense. No team is in a playoff run ever beaten 3 consecutive or 3 total top 5 defenses. The Pats have already knocked off the Chargers, the Texans, and now Denver's up next, and New England should win this game. We should be talking again next week about the Super Bowl against one of these tough teams from the NFC West.
Never easy to go from the hunter to the hunted, but New England has managed to do that in one season. In the same season. It's kind of absolutely crazy here. But the thing that interests me here, Adam, is the fact that of all the big moves that we have seen so far in these 2 remaining games, the total in this game is the one that has moved the most and has gotten the most respected money because it's moving to the over. So if Denver is the top defense, where are the points coming from here? What does that say about the kind of game that we're expecting here?
Well, I think there were a lot of people that were surprised in that Texans game that we got an over. I personally, I'm sure you guys too, expected a game that was going to be a little more like the Chargers game, where it was kind of a rock fight, lower scoring. We talked about it going in, but the weather, the fact they were playing in miserable conditions there in the snow, and there were like 95 turnovers between the 2 teams leading to short fields, it tacked on some points. And so I think there's an element of recency bias there where people say, well, if the Patriots put up damn near 30 points against the top defense in the NFL, surely against a struggling Broncos defense that has been, lit up by Josh Allen, just put up 30 points, obviously, in that controversial overtime loss, allowed Trevor Lawrence to go off against them and all of these other teams in the second half of the year, we should get some points. I think that's one of the things that I feel like I'm consistently having to remind people is that the Broncos, yes, metrically, total defense, top 5 for the year. But what kind of gets ignored here, guys, is that defense was superb, excellent the first half of the year. And the second half of the year, including the 2 playoff games or 1 playoff game for Denver, actually kind of average in terms of the EPA. I think maybe 13th or so in the NFL. It's not been nearly what it was in the front half of the year. Now, it does bring an excellent pass rush. That's not going to be ideal for Drake May, certainly, and he's going to have his challenges. But, I think Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson should be able to run all over this team. We just saw it with James Cook. I just don't think it's that imposing, even on the road, unless the altitude and elevation and all of that is going to be an issue. So I think, long-winded answer short, I think what's built up the total, what's risen the number, Joe, is the fact that people are looking at Denver and saying, this isn't the same old Denver Broncos defense. The Patriots should go out there and score points. And, Jarrett Stidham, he's got to be, better or at least comparable to what Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud were, right? Like, how can you be worse? So I think we are going to get points in this game.
I'll tell you what I do like about this, and I expected it yesterday from the locker room of the Denver Broncos. They're actually basically telling you they are better off with Jarrett Stidham than Bo Nix, with the glowing praise, and he's Tom Brady, and you should see what he does to our first-team defense when he's running scout team. I get that. But I want to get a quick take here on game number 2 on Sunday from you as well, Adam. The Rams are going to take on Seattle. The worst-case scenario for me, if I wanted to take the Seahawks, was practice number 1, seeing Sam Darnold limited. Practice number 1, he was limited here. That line sits at 2.5. How do we play this out in your mind with Sam Darnold, who still might not be 100%, where last week they didn't need him against the 49ers. They're going to need him against the Rams.
Joe and I were joking going into our show, like, you didn't know if Sam Darnold was going to play in that game. Is it going to be Drew Lock? All the reports that were going into. So, guys, I don't think I'm in this, like, crazy minority here. I like the Rams to win this game. You had 2 very narrow games during the regular season. 21-19, a survival by the Rams and the Seahawks with a majestic late comeback win in overtime in that game that produced about 1,000 total yards and almost 80 points. These teams have played each other very even during the regular season, and usually it's Seattle that has to come back with these heroics. If Sam Darnold's not going to be himself, or even close to it, and they're already down Zach Charbonnet and have Kenneth Walker, who obviously is very good, but still that team operates even better with a 2 tandem back. I think that ultimately the Rams do win this game. We a Patriots-Rams round 3 in the Super Bowl.
Should be, could be. We'll see what happens, but it is kind of fun. Look, you need breaks to win championships during the season. New England just might be getting that great break, pun intended, from Bo Nix. Thanks for joining us this morning, Adam. Next up, we're going to get to those Kalshi Poly Market actions. You don't want to miss out, people. We'll be right back. %7 chance of winning a PGA Tour major. Would I be wrong by saying I want to invest in the no on Scotty Scheffler? And that $100 investment would pay back $213 here. Everybody thinks Scotty's going to win. It's like 100 golfers in those fields each and every week, and the major's the best golfers in the world. I'm going against the grain, Joe. Give me the no on Scotty Scheffler.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
I can make you some money this morning, enough to get you, I should say, a cup of coffee. I'm Donnie right side, it's Joe Ranieri. Joe, would you be impressed if I was able to show you free money on a transaction right now in a predictive market that would get you a cup of coffee maybe over the next week or so? Would you do it?
I would absolutely do it.
All right,
Absolutely.
so let's have some fun and get to the knowledge that you need right now. We've been telling you this morning, hey, look, Brian Flores is going back to the Minnesota Vikings as their defensive coordinator. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are still open to getting a head coaching spot. Chris Shule is the favorite right now at 49%. But if you go to Kalshi right now and you slide down, Brian Flores is still trading at 3%, which means the no is 97%. You can still put wagers on that. You can still invest in that number. A $100 wager would pay back 104. Donnie, that's ridiculous. You already know the answer to the test, Joe, and you could still make an investment into it. How about that?
I can't, Donnie. There are very few locks in this industry, right? But that might be as close to a lock as you are going to get, Donnie. And I like it. I got a cup of coffee waiting with my name on it.
There you go. By the way, Chris Shule, a 49% chance to be that Pittsburgh head coach. Looks like it's trending in that direction. Joe, there's no way they go McCarthy, right? I'm almost willing to say to myself, just out of a hate investment, $100 pays back $121 on McCarthy not being the head coach of the Steelers. It seems like he's the anti-Steelers coach that you would put on a poster, no?
And he continues to get support from former Pittsburgh Steelers. And, there is... where there's smoke, there's fire. And I hate to say it, but it might make sense because the Steelers are going to have to go through a regrowth here, Donnie, at some point. So, if Aaron Rodgers is the only available option, then who better than Mike McCarthy to convince him to come back?
I think we got a heavenly spot for you right now, Joe, setting up. And the reason is because I know you like contracts to the no. Just bet all the no and have some fun with it. Which pro football coaches will be out before September? That's this September. You know who's in the lead? Andy Reid. You know who's next? Brian Schottenheimer, Sean McVay, Zach Taylor, Dan Campbell. So understanding that they would get fired for something, I guess, that they would do off the field, because typically none of these coaches are going to get moved on from now with 10 spots that were open. They would have already been fired. Joe, taking the no right down the list. Like, some people vote Democrat, just go right down the line, a Republican, right down the line. Joe, this seems like a dream scenario, investing right down the line on those, paying dividends.
Donnie, prior to the last, 5 months, that would have been the easiest call in the world. But, we have 2/3 of the NFL looking for a new head coach right now, Donnie. I don't know. We even just got a coach fired after he made it out of the wild card to a divisional round game and lost because of a horrific call by the refs, and yet he's out of it. I don't know. Anything, it feels like, with these billionaire owners is possible here, and who knows? Maybe, and it's fired, right? It's not stepped down. It's fired, right?
Correct. Like the coaches that will be
so
out.
It's not like
health
reasons. Right. It's not health reasons. I have to step down before. No, it's anything is possible, Donnie. And I give up with the NFL and these owners.
Now, hear me out on this one, Joe, because this is fun. Like, usually I tell you, like, if you invest $100, right, which we're the common man out here. If you had a free $1 million investment on Kalshi, Ben Johnson is trading at 99 cents here. You would actually make $10,100 if you had $1 million. Like, honestly, I don't have $1 million to do that with, but if you have money, like Ben Johnson getting fired or leaving the spot in Chicago would shock me. You can be up 10 grand by September, Joe.
Those are the head scratch. So you only would have to tie up the money till September, right? So that's basically all you. So I know that there's worse things, I guess, you could do with $1 million, right? Not many.
There's worse things
I guess there could
Not
be
many,
worse things.
but you can. How about LeBron James announces his retirement before the 26-27 NBA season, trading now at 32.2% chance. I love this. I would bet the yes on the. What's the yes? 100 pays back, Joe. 271. I love it. Absolutely.
Well, again, doesn't mean he won't play, but he might announce that this is my final year. I'm planning on retiring. Would that cover it?
Yeah, he has to announce it before that starts.
He has to announce it. So he could still play it right next season, but he could let everyone know this is my last season. I'm retiring. And we're good to go.
If LeBron James announces his retirement before the date of 2026-2027 regular season, then the market resolves to yes. By the way, I got one more topic. I want to ask Joe about coming up right after Harvard.
What is going on with this John Morant saga, right? Joe's on the block. Joe wants to be traded. But now Joe comes back and he denies all trade talk and says John says he has no desire to play elsewhere. So he shut it down. He's still viewed as a franchise centerpiece when on the floor. Memphis, they're better with him.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. You say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's head coach of the New York Giants. Did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Sure, you could say the punt block is a key play in the game. It was.
It was.
But the signature play of last night's game is the John Elway-esque diving sideways into the end zone. There's a picture of it right there.
Yeah.
To effectively win the national championship. That dude's a baller.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hold on a second, though. You believe that Mike McDaniel is not head coach caliber?
No.
There's a lot of evidence that says Cliff Kingsbury is not
That's
either.
fine that you believe that. But here's the thing.
There's more. Hold on a second.
Hang on, go ahead.
Mike McDaniel has a better resume than Cliff Kingsbury.
He does on paper, but he's not a locker room guy.
Well, is Cliff?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for some football? You can tell by my voice. I might have been cheering for the Philadelphia Eagles still a little bit too loudly a few weeks back, and my voice just hasn't recovered yet. Or you can feel I'm under the weather and taking one for the team because I don't ever leave a man behind like my guy Joe Ranieri. We're here for 2 hours. Your boy DRS is here for 2 hours. But I'll tell you, 3 hours on Sunday, that's going to divide the AFC Championship winner from the loser and a new quarterback in Jarrett Stidham. Let's see what the Broncos think.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is not about myself. First of all, I want to, obviously, my thoughts and prayers have been with Bo since Saturday night. I mean, it's crushing because he's one of my best friends, and Sam and I were talking about this. Like, Sam and I probably spend more time with him than his wife does right now, and that's just the nature of the business that we're in. You know, when training camp starts, like, that's just how it is. Like, I see Bo more than I see my kids, you know, so it's just one of those things. You spend so much time with someone, you see how hard they work, how good of a teammate they are, and then that happens and you feel crushed, you know, for him and everything. So, yeah, my obviously my prayers and stuff have been with him. So,
two things out of that. Jarrett Stidham's going to take over starting quarterback. We know that, but Drake May and Bo Nix, too young to get married, Joe. Your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, you know how my take is on that. Donnie, no reason to run and get the law involved. I'm thinking that listen, he has been there and he has done this before. So this is not his first rodeo by any stretch. And this is why coaching matters in the NFL. Listen, I don't think that Sean Payton is going to ask him or put him in a spot to not maximize what he can do and what he knows. The question is, can everybody else elevate their game? But, I mean, he knows what his job is. He knows what his role is. He's not trying to steal a spotlight. Everybody in Denver is saying the right things right now, Donnie.
No, they are saying the right things right now. And again, it's kind of funny. The hype, you expect this. The only guy that never got the hype was Trey Lance for the 49ers. Nobody ever said a good thing about that guy at any time. So you always know, like, oh, he must be really bad. but it was no surprise where a guy with 8 career touchdown passes and 8 career interceptions is now being treated as like, this guy's never been ready before. He's the best backup quarterback in the league. We'll find out on Sunday if that's the case. But, Joe, the 5.5's down to 4.5. Some people must be buying into that, though.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, there's a lot at play, and this is it's very easy to fall into that trap that, oh, boy, I mean, Bo Nix is out. Now, look, guys, Bo Nix is a second-year quarterback who's accomplished nothing in this league. It's not like you lost Tom Brady in his heyday. It's not like Peyton Manning went down. Everyone needs to slow the roll on what the expectations. Is it awful? Yes. But is it to the point where you're taking on another second-year young quarterback with a team that's overachieved? Should we really be expecting blowout on the road in a conference championship? I would slow the roll here.
Temperatures getting colder and colder for that game too, Joe. Let's take a look at the superstar wide receivers. Top of the heap, Cortland Sutton, 49.5 is his player prop number. Stephon Diggs, 44.5. Both of those guys, the leader in the clubhouse with the highest totals for receiving yards. If I gave you one of these wideouts to back at both of their numbers, who would that wide receiver be, Joe?
Between Sutton and Diggs, I got to believe Sutton. I think Sutton is going to. Listen, if it's the one thing that Denver, Bo Nix, Stidham, you, me, whoever's under center, that is one of the best pass blocking offensive lines in the NFL. Nix was not under any pressure this year. That is a great pass blocking offensive line, which means they're going to ask Stidham to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers, and there is no better playmaker than Sutton. So I think he's going to see a lot of balls thrown his way here this weekend.
A little bit banged up at wide receiver for Denver, so maybe not as many options. And also, when you're a backup quarterback, what's your best friend? The top receiver. Just throw me the football, and I'll handle the rest. The Rams taking on Seattle in the 6:30 NFC Championship game on Sunday. That total, 47.5, now down to 46.5 after a day that we got a Sam Darnold injury report that says he's going to be limited. They're not saying it's basically, hey, he's injured. We just want to be precautionary. But come on now. The betting markets see that as well. That line's staying at 2.5.
Yeah, it is. And again, I think depending on the narrative and what we learn or don't learn about Sam Darnold as we get closer to kickoff, will determine whether or not this actually gets to 2 or maybe even 1.5 before it's all said and done.
Top wideouts for this game, Joe, much different playing field than what I just told you about. In the 40s for both Cortland Sutton and also taking a look at Stephon Diggs. Puka Nacua, 91.5 is his receiving prop. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 89.5. This is simple to me. I know Seattle is the better defense, but I have the more healthy quarterback. And if you take a look at Stafford as compared to Darnold, the 91.5 sounds better to me. Or does it, Joe? JSN's 89.5 to you.
I don't think JSN is going to be going to have this over the world game here. I would look to fade those numbers simply because are we really expecting him to be able to explosive plays? I don't think so. The second half of the year, all Jackson Smith and Jigba did was crossing routes and quick 7-yard outs. He didn't have those long explosive plays like he did in the first half. Defenses have adjusted. The Rams have already played them twice. They're not going to let them beat them over the top. And I'm not sure Sam Darnold can throw the ball that far here. Donnie, that's the other big question. So I would only look at Nacua thinking he's got the better shot at overs here in this game.
By the way, secondary options, Devontae Adams is 49.5, but also Cooper Kupp, who we get confused sometimes with Cooper Flagg, he's 29.5. He's that short to intermediate target that had some success against the 49ers when Darnold was coming in that game banged up. Or maybe, Joe, Rashid Shaheed's 23.5. That used to be one catch and done in New Orleans. Not really the case this year with Seattle so far.
Yeah, I kind of like it, Donnie. I like that look for him. I thought he was great in that game. And he fits that mold, right? That kind of take what the defense gives you, move the chains, keep going. And easy targets, quick throws. Don't let Sam Darnold. How many hits is he going to be able to take in this game with the oblique injury? That's my question here, Donnie.
It is. Maybe a decent teaser Sunday as well, Joe. Could you see the Denver Broncos getting 10.5 at home against the New England Patriots and then taking the Rams 8.5 on the road against the Seahawks? How about a teaser cook up for you, Joe, this weekend?
It's very interesting, Donnie, right? Maybe a little same game teaser. We get the Rams up over what, 8.5 we get them to. And then you can look at the total depending on how many points, maybe jack it up 6 points and get the under 53.5. Might not be a bad look.
Might not be a bad look. Super Bowl MVP. By the way, did I see a tweet going around yesterday, either from Polymarket or Kalshi, that somebody unloaded on the no for Jared Stidham to be the MVP of the Super Bowl, which means if he loses this week, you cash that ticket. If he plays in the Super Bowl next week and they win and he doesn't win MVP, you still cash that ticket. He's 19-1. I wouldn't be looking that direction, but Joe, those predictive markets, you can bet the nose on these, which I think is fascinating.
Which is also great. But understand, guys, here, this is your final chance to hedge who you think is going to win. So if you think Seattle's winning it all, then that you ain't getting Sam Darnold at plus 250 when Seattle wins this game and moves on. So now is your last time to hedge in and get these at the best numbers possible, because it ain't going to happen once these teams win and we know who's in.
Joe, the favorite in the clubhouse to win MVP of the Super Bowl is Sam Darnold. At the beginning of the season, not too many people were thinking that. And you know who's in third in line? Drake May at a plus 310 price. Absolutely insanity, but that's where we find ourselves right now. For me, maybe a Kenneth Walker 17-1 price. Now they have Charbonneau down. Like they win this week as a big Super Bowl. I can see something like that. Usually it's a quarterback award, Joe, but a running back might make some sense for Seattle.
Yes, absolutely. Or, and depending on who you think they're going to be facing, will depend on whether it's a running back or a wide receiver, I think.
How about that? My voice is fading, but not the energy on this show, people. Cam's coming up next. The energy will be raised higher and higher. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
What is going on with this John Morant saga, right? Joe's on the block. Joe wants to be traded. But now Joe comes back and he denies all trade talk and says John says he has no desire to play elsewhere. So he shut it down. He's still viewed as a franchise centerpiece when on the floor. Memphis, they're better with him.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. I say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's head coach of the New York Giants. Did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Sure, you could say the punt block is a key play in the game. It was.
It was.
But the signature play of last night's game is the John Elway-esque diving sideways into the end zone. There's a picture of it right there.
Yeah.
To effectively win the national championship. That dude's a baller.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hold on a second, though. You believe that Mike McDaniel is not head coach caliber?
No.
There's a lot of evidence that says Cliff Kingsbury is not
That's
either.
fine that you believe that. But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
There's more. Hold on a second.
Hang on, go ahead.
Mike McDaniel has a better resume than Cliff Kingsbury.
He does on paper, but he's not a locker room guy.
Well, is Cliff?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 certainly in full effect right here on the early line. It's your boy DRS along with Joe Ranieri. Welcome in Cam Stewart. Cam, take my voice. I'll sacrifice my voice to get you on this show, brother.
See, Donnie, that's the type of guy. You're a team player. You're playing banged up, hurt. Donnie's still out there getting her done. That's what we respect, Donnie. He never quits. Like my boy Chris Goddard up on a Sunday. Just take him down. Hey, Rory. Bam, bam, bam. All we're going to do, right, Joe? It doesn't matter if it's Hawaii. It doesn't matter if it's Scotland Links Golf. Shout out to New Jersey's finest Pride of Rutgers in Oklahoma. But we have a tournament this week, the American Express. Joe, I know you feel 3 courses, kind of stupid, but hey, who cares? If we hit winners, I don't care if they play the golf on the moon. Let's just have another good week, make some money, and then we could roll it into the NFL on Sunday, because that's what we do. We, instead of investing, I'm just going to on my sea bags there. We'll see what happens, but I'm scared about this week.
Let's get to the Amex here. 2026. Scotty Scheffler, the favorite, Cam, plus 340 rolling into it here. How do we feel about this early golf season? And more importantly, Cam, who do you got in this tournament? Let's go.
Yeah, I'm going to lay off Scheffler this week. It's 3 different courses, and I think that's a disadvantage. And if he beats me, he beats me, right, Joe? Like, I'm done with this plus 250, 3 o'clock, plus 300 stuff. If he wins, sure, be it. And then we'll start with the betting without Scotty Scheffler market. But it's a new season, so we're going to start with Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin was in contention last week, and Chris Goddard just pulled away from the field. He had a couple bad holes, guys, but when I'm getting Ben Griffin, a world-class player, 25-1, I think his price is actually very good. I think it's value. Should be around 16 to 18-1. Matt Fitzpatrick, I'm going overseas. This is a guy I think is going to have a big year. Won the U.S. Open. Sometimes that putter gets a little bit cold, but his ball striking is impeccable. Hence, pars are good. He won the U.S. Open. I think he can do well this week. What are we going to do with Daniel Berger? Joe, Donnie, I hate the golf hipsters when we got a guy at 71. I got him at 60, and I see him at 45 on some sites. So that's usually not good for business, but I'm in at that price. And Rasmus Højgaard is the better Højgaard, part of the Ryder Cup team for Europe. 80-1 is a crazy, crazy price, guys. So I really like Ben Griffin this week. I think those odds are fantastic, and I think he'll do really, really well. And I think he can beat down Scheffler on Sunday if he's in the mix.
This is like the old Bob Hope, right? Isn't that what this tournament is now? It's the American, right? Isn't that what it was? Because it was always 3 courses, and that was, and Bob Hope rode around. So, but I love your picks, Cam, because 11 of the last 16 winners have all been 55-1 or better that have actually cashed it. So it hasn't been a chalky event. And you got some bombs in there. I don't see any Eric Cole, though, first-round leader. Are we settling down in 2026 on Cole being no? We're done with that?
I don't know. I got some Novocaine. No, I'm switching it up. Joe, I got Andrew Novak, first-round leader. Remember, there's 3 courses. So I got PGA West. I got Patrick Rogers, 22-1. I'm just going to give you I have 6 guys. Oh, wow. Hey, graphics team. Frank Font, shout out to you guys. I didn't see this coming. So we got Rogers at 22-1. We got Svensson Frozen Dinners, the Canadian for the Prime Minister. Very hot starter, 40-1. Tiger calls him Ashtray Batia. Sure, I don't care. Have a smoke at 26-1. Novocaine. That's the choice this week, Joe. 35. Oh my God, Eric Cole's there. I lied. I can't. Tie me up in a straight jacket. 33-1. Joe, I play him every week till he wins. And Valimaki, known more for hockey with his cousin who plays for the Utah Mammoth, but swinging Sammy Valimaki, great Thursday warrior at 35-1.
Love it. Love the golf picks here. We get to go. And by the way, we are going to get buried in the Northeast with some snow. So sit back, relax, and bet some golf with Cam Stewart and the boys. Cam, like Joe, we leave Joe out of these conversations. We're supposed to get buried here every on day, Sunday Donnie, into Monday.
I'm the loser in the neighborhood, too. Everyone's, hi, guys. They got their friggin' coffee and they put the hot toddies in there. My car's covered in 2 igloos. They're like, look at Cam. What a loser neighbor. The guy with the bad property, that's me. And I'm on the corner, and the snowplow's like, every day, Donnie. I've never seen a winter like this. Hell, it's minus 23 here. That's like Arctic weather. Anyway, who cares? We're going to bet on golf. I saw you guys talking about the Super Bowl. You're so right. That's Walker pick, guys. If you like the Seattle Seahawks, Walker at that price is unreal. He's going to be the main feature back. He does it all. In open space, that's crazy. Sam Darnold at plus 250. If he went, that number's nuts. But guys, also Shaheed. He's one of these guys. We've seen how electrifying he can be. The punt return versus the Rams to get them back into the game and then to start the game against the 49ers. A couple gadget plays, anything can happen with a Super Bowl MVP. And those odds for Smith and Jigba too? Are you kidding me? Like, say the guy has a couple like 180 yards and a couple touchdowns. I know they might give it to Darnold, but we'll see. I think those odds are absolutely crazy. Guys, one prop for this week too. Shaheed rushes over. He's actually doing a lot of trick plays. They have rushing attempts over 0.5, yes. And I like his rushing yards too. I think he's going to be one of these guys. You know what I'm saying, Donnie? It's one of these sneaky plays.
I love that.
End arounds, tricks. He's going to be a part of this thing. Without Charbonnet, Seattle's going to have to come up with some concepts. And watching all their games, Shaheed is going to be a part of this game. He's getting more and more into the offense, and I think he's a huge play this week. And guys, I'm taking the points with Denver. I don't care who's quarterbacking. I don't know how you guys feel about this with Stidham there, but I'm seeing 5.5 on FanDuel. Like, no, I'm not laying it with New England. I know he's a backup quarterback. You're going into Mile High and you're getting points, guys. I don't know how you feel, but it could be an overreaction. So I'm on the Broncos to cover the number 2.
Tell him, Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just feel like this is one of those situations where could we get not one, but both dogs barking here, Cam? Is it possible that we could have both dogs barking in a championship where isn't home field supposed to matter? Do you think that we're going to get a field goal here with Seattle at some point? Do you think we're going to get enough money?
I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. We've done the show with people I respect and everybody, like a lot of smart guys like the Rams. It's tough for Seattle. The first game, they got absolutely, like they came back, but they were, Darnold threw 4 interceptions that game. The last game, they needed a miracle comeback, and it started with that Shaheed return. Maybe three times the charm. The 49ers were beat up, like absolutely ravaged. The Rams are a really good team. They don't have to play in weather. I'm a Seattle fan, so I'm biased. I think they can win this game, but I'm very, very scared. I think the NFC representative is way better than anybody in the AFC. The winner of the Rams-Seattle game should win the Super Bowl, guys. That's what I'm thinking.
Love it.
Cam, are you at all worried about Darnold? Is it more of that they're just playing this extra cautious and he should be okay to throw 35 times this weekend?
I'm worried, Donnie, because now he doesn't have to throw for 150 yards. Against the Rams, if the game's close, he's going to have to make plays. So no interceptions. He made a couple of big plays. That's the problem. He didn't need to throw before. Now he's going to have to. So no interceptions, read the zones, and go to Barner, your big tight end. I think will be an X factor in this game as well.
Yeah, I don't even think Barner even had a catch in that last game. He's going to need to be more impactful. But I'll tell you who is impactful. It's our guy, Cam Stewart, always bringing the heat. Thanks for joining us, Cam. And we will be back after this short break.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of teams are already into their off season. Well, heck, there's only 4 teams left playing in their season. With them, we're going to decide only 2 more once we hit Monday morning, and that'll be the Super Bowl here. The tush-push question, Joe. When to get back to the predictive markets. Banned for 2026, a 38% chance. And by the way, if we were trading back just a few short days ago on the 17th, it was at a 62% chance. Now it's dropped to 38%. And by the way, did you know the one team that hated it the most was probably the Buffalo Bills, who ran it the most with Josh Allen? Do we think this gets banned, Joe?
No, because I think it's old news now, right? At this point, because it hasn't. The Eagles are the face of the tush push, and where are they, Donnie? Well, they're in the need of an offensive coordinator that they can't seem to hire anywhere. So it's kind of like anything else in the NFL. It runs its course. You know, teams will eventually adjust, but it's not like it's this consistent situation in which it's never been stopped. So I think the worry about it is no longer top of mind for people.
New Poly Market. Will DRS's voice make it the next 4 minutes here to complete a full show? Trading heavily with over $1 million right now, Joe. But let's get to the point of the show. We want to reach out to the people. Here's our Fade the Public poll. At SportsGrid on X is where you'll find us. The question we asked today: which new NFL head coach will have the best 26-27 NFL season? Harbaugh, Saleh, Stefanski, Hafley, Joe. The leader, it's actually Harbaugh with the Giants. How about that?
Well, it better be. I'll tell you that, because he takes over a program that has all of the talent, way more talent than what Saleh has here. And both, Saleh and Harbaugh, they're going to have top draft picks coming their way this year as well to bolster. And it's not like the cupboards are bare in Tennessee. I mean, I would give Saleh an outside chance of actually having a lot of success this season. But I think as, drop them in right now as the roster currently constructed, I don't think anybody has more potential talent than what Harbaugh is walking into with the Giants. So, yeah, I think he should win more games than anybody else.
By the way, Joe, everybody got pink slip basically on that coaching staff with Harbaugh coming in, and Diana Rossini just tweets out, Ronnie Barnes, who used to be the head athletic trainer for 45 years with the Giants, he's being moved in the organization as well. So Harbaugh putting his imprint right away on that coaching staff. But you know what else we need to put an imprint on? Winning some money for the people tonight. Here's our buy. Joe, once again, you hit the nail on the head last night with a victory. Give us another one tonight.
Yeah, Sean Miller in Texas, not winning at Rupp Arena, but certainly getting the cover at 7.5 there against Kentucky. All of a sudden, Kentucky now with 3 wins in a row in conference play. But we're going to head to the association here tonight, Donnie, and it's so funny because as we're sitting here, and when I put this play in to the guys there in master control, all of a sudden the line is moved against me, and the under is getting money now in this Spurs-Jazz game tonight. And quite honestly, I'm happy about it because it gives us a better number for this thing to go over. And the reason it's being bet under is the overreaction to the news that Lauri Markkanen will not be playing tonight in this one. But I don't care at this point because Utah at home, Donnie, one of the best over teams in the NBA, 17-5 to the over at home. And you'd be hard pressed to find a line that was under 240 in this spot. These teams already played in Utah and it landed over 240, and Wembanyama wasn't even on the court. It's a bounce back spot for them. I think we're getting nothing but points once again here tonight. So I'll gladly take the over 237 now, Donnie, in the market. And I hope it keeps dropping so we can get it again at an even lower number.
And I'll gladly take a team that actually has a winning record as opposed to a non-winning record like the Sacramento Kings. I'm going to take a look at the Philadelphia 76ers tonight and take the 2 points, Joe. Only 25% of the tickets coming in early on the Philadelphia 76ers. Overnight at FanDuel, -2.5. That's now dropped to 2. I'll take the +2 with the Sixers tonight as we get an NBA sweep before we head into another episode, Joe, of Football Friday.
I can't wait, Donnie. Put up or shut up time. Limits are open now. They're up. So will we get any crazy line movement here, Donnie, between now and tomorrow? But that's what Spread Lines is all about.
We're fighting through this week, baby. Tomorrow's Friday. See if I make it there. You know I'll be here. Voice or not, people. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of The Early Line.